Hello, my friends. How are you today? I've been frustrated the last few days, and now you guys get to be frustrated with me. That's the way this works. And the reason I'm frustrated is because we've got a superior... Wow. That's funny because of what I was about to say. I can't even speak correctly, but I have the balls to say what I'm about to say. So we have a severe lack of education and common sense and stuff like that in the world. That's hilarious because I can't put together full sentences, but here I am talking about how we need more education in this planet. We just need, I don't know, smarter people. You don't believe me? Let's check in with this Texan real quick and test my theory. We've got some sad cowboy poetry from a Texan. Your comments, TX, drives totally off basses. It's mostly foreigners and people from other states that live, I would, to have conversation about. You're in other stating something and running it. Don't be the sheep, be the wolf. I just kind of started watching you to learn about Swift business, but screw, why poo? So there you have it. That Texan just came to give me a piece of their mind, and I think they gave me all they had left. That was impressive, my friends. And that is kind of the point of this video, because I have been, I wouldn't say in a bad mood, but I've been very, very annoyed with, how do I put this politely? I'm going to say this the best way I possibly can. Waking up every day in a world full of dipshits and having to deal with them and them making all their stupidity everyone else's fucking problem. Jesus Christ, Josh. What an asshole I am, right? I am such a dick. So, anyways, I'm having trouble putting my thoughts together because there's a lot to this video. There's a lot that's going to happen in this video today. Basically, what I'm going to do by the time this video is over is put my money where my mouth is, okay? Because you got to do something. You got to do something. So, as you guys saw last week, I think most of you saw it, I made a community post because somebody went out of their way to send me $2 to tell me that I need to brush my teeth. They spent $2 of their own money to I don't know what they were trying to prove. I'm not really sure. Let me give you a little backstory, okay? A few years ago, maybe longer than that, a group of men became very obsessed with my teeth. I don't know why. I know I don't have the world's greatest teeth, but they're not, I don't really care to defend it that much. They're not this disgusting thing that people make them out to be. They're just not great, and we all know that. But, you know, we got to be honest about a few things. I'm not a pretty man. I am not. I always kind of laugh at, I'll get back to the point. Hold on. I always kind of laugh at the people that get on the comments and go, dude, you need to shave your beard or trim your beard. And some guy told me to go get my eyebrows done professionally and get my hair cut. And I don't know if that included a mani and pedi. I'm not really sure. But there's a lot of people that find themselves completely obsessed with my physical appearance. And to me, that's fucking weird. But that's, I mean, the balls I must have to show up on the internet and not be attractive to everyone out there. What a fucking asshole I am, right? But anytime people start telling me what to do to make me look better, I always ask them now in the comments, like, is there anything else I could do to be more attractive to you, Daddy? Is there anything else you need from me so that you can feel sexually satisfied every time you watch one of my videos? No, it's my problem. You're not a fucking weirdo on the internet commenting on how I could be sexier for you. It's clearly a me problem that I need to fix, right? Now I know how these girl gamers feel, right? They're streaming. They're streaming on the internet. Actually, you know what? I got kind of a funny one. Trucking Made Successful. Do you guys know her? She's funny. She makes very good videos. But I was watching one of her live streams, and somebody said OnlyFans in the comments, and yeah, that was a shitty thing to say because she's just trying to make videos on the trucking market and educate people and grow her channel and all these things. And yes, she's very attractive, of course she is, but that's no reason to go to her comments and say OnlyFans. Like, it's funny when you do it in my comments because I'm a hideous man, and that makes the joke funny. But it's not so much funny. But she is so funny. She goes, "Oh, I hate when people tell me that. As a matter of fact, it pisses me off." And I was like, yes, get their asses, right? Get them. And obviously she's not out to fight with her audience near as much as I'm out to fight with my own audience, which is a thing I do sometimes because I'm a dick. But she was like, I loved how human she was about that whole thing. And now I know how she feels when she's just trying to put out a video and people are worried about how attractive she is. Apparently, some of you weirdos are doing that to me too. So anyways, this group of men found themselves very frustrated with my teeth to the point of obsession. And now I guess some of them are willing to send me their own hard-earned money to let them know they still don't like my teeth. Okay, that's cool. But the point I'm making with that is I didn't know what to do with that money. Like, I believe it was through Cash App, and I believe there's a refund thing. But then I was like, you know what I think I'll do? I'll just donate this to some sort of foundation, some sort of something that's working towards the betterment of people, young people, you know, to help them be better when they grow up so they don't turn into complete dickheads like this guy or some of the other assholes I've had the pleasure of dealing with on the internet, right? And so I found the World Literacy Foundation, and I looked them up. You know, I checked a little bit before, and appears legit to me, doesn't look like any kind of thing. And I said, yeah, there's nothing wrong with you know, maybe using this guy's money that he uses to be I guess a high school bully on the internet, I'm not really sure. Use that money for even if it's just a little bit, the betterment of the next generation, because, well, you can't fix the dipshits that are already grown up, right? You can't do that. So all you can do is hope for a brighter future, right? So I was going to just take that $2, donate it, but then I went over to that, when I found the charity I was going to donate to, I found that their minimum was $10. And I said, you know what? Yeah, I can just round it up and I'll do $10, right? And it felt good. I thought it was funny. I was like, yeah, like, well, might as well use this guy's money. And, you know, $8 of my own money, sure. But might as well use this guy's money for something good so that a young child doesn't grow up to be like him. And that would be a blessing to our fucking planet, right? So, we're getting to the point. Don't worry. There's a point to what I'm going to say. How do I want to say this next part? A lot of people tell me, like, Josh, fuck the haters, and I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you at all, right? But there is a curse to being this guy Trucks, right? I mean, I've got the most passionate haters on the internet, I think, right? These men are absolutely addicted to me because of the, I guess, absolutely wild shit I say on the internet. And if I were to actually question it, and try to figure out what causes people to be so upset with the things I say, because I've been told a lot, well, it's because you talk shit about truckers. No, I don't. I make jokes about truckers. And if truckers would stop being so goddamn hilarious, I wouldn't have any fucking punchlines anymore, right? But it's victimless because I never put the people on the screen. I never go back and, well, unless they're prime drivers, I don't put them on the screen. But what I was going to say was I never go back and make fun of the same person over again, unless they're prime drivers as a whole, because those fuckers are just coming out the goddamn woodwork, guys. They're everywhere. They're little cockroaches, these little prime drivers. So you got to go back and make fun of them. I don't, like, put out anybody's personal information. Like I said, I don't put them on the camera. I saw a thing on the road while I was a truck driver. I found it humorous. And I come to YouTube to tell that story, right? And a lot of people do think it's funny, as a matter of fact, because a lot of people are completely rational, reasonable people that don't get their feelings hurt over comedy. But I feel like that whole thing, you know, the reason that this guy Trucks deserves all this hatred towards him is because he makes fun of truckers. I guess the protected class of truckers. I don't fucking know. I believe it's all made up because who says that? Like, who is really that upset because jokes were made on the internet at a random trucker's expense? Knowing me, and I do comedy here on YouTube every once in a while, there is a possibility that a lot of the jokes I'm saying are exaggerated to make people laugh. So, you know, did I see something and then... This is how comedy works, right? Because there's a bunch of fucking numbskulls out there that go, see, he's admitting right now to lying to us. This is how comedy works. You take a boring, normal, everyday, mundane thing, and you find the humor in it. You find what's funny about it, and then you present it to an audience, and they laugh, and that's your reward. Oh, God, that reminds me, speaking of, sorry I'm doing this so late in the video. My God, I'm such an asshole, guys. This is... not very good of me. I normally do this at the beginning. We've got some thank yous. Some thank yous for super thanks on the last video. I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I didn't mention it earlier in the video. I hope you're still watching. But we've got JD with $5. Dirty Syringe, what a name, with $5. And Deviant Hatter with $20 on the last video. I'm sorry, guys. It took me almost 10 minutes to get to that. We're probably past the 10 minutes after our little cowboy poetry session at the beginning of the video. I don't believe that it's the jokes I make about truckers that piss truckers off. I honestly don't believe that. Here's what I believe it is. I came into trucking in my 30s, right? I was honestly a little intimidated to get into trucking when I was younger than that, because there's this fake image of truckers perpetuated by a handful of very fragile truckers that are afraid that they will look weak for some reason. And this facade, or whatever you want to call it, is that truckers are a bunch of badasses that run around and will fuck you up, and we're just mentally unhinged fucking lunatics that are gonna run your family down on the road if you get in our fucking way, and if you meet me on Fuel Island, I'm gonna kick the fucking shit out of you, and all this stupid shit. And it actually was a thing that kind of kept me out of trucking for a lot of years, because I just wanted to work. I just wanted to provide for my family. I didn't want to go to a job where maybe I'm learning, right? And I'm taking a little too long to back into my spot at a truck stop, and then some lunatic rips me out of my truck and beats the living shit out of me because I'm not as good as him at the job. And I kind of thought maybe some of this stuff is real. I don't know why, because I'm dumb, right? And then I got into trucking. Right? And I was nervous. I was like, man, what is going to happen out on the road? Am I going to need to protect myself at all times? It didn't take me long to realize that and this is a very small group of truckers, guys, but it didn't take me very long to realize that, for lack of a better term, they were a bunch of fucking blowhards that talk about what badasses they are, and almost none of this badassery is happening in the real world, right? I mean, we got a goddamn crackhead that spent the last 5 years I've known about him telling everybody he's gonna kick their ass on Fuel Island. You know how many asses he's kicked on Fuel Island in that time? 0, not fucking 1. It's just internet threats, that's all it is, and it's fucking silly. The point I'm trying to make with that was, once I came into trucking and started realizing this isn't real, this is an illusion made up by just a few people, because let's be honest, most truck drivers, even though some of y'all do some silly shit that you end up being the punchline of my jokes, most truck drivers are honest people that just want to make a living. They've got other things to worry about in the world than kicking your ass on Fuel Island. Once I started to see that all this was a bunch of bullshit, we're still getting to the point, baby, don't worry. Then I started to call it out. Then I started making my YouTube videos making fun of all these silly fucking threats that happen on the internet. And I think what happened, actually I was talking to someone somewhat about this morning. I think what happened is the internet happened to all of us so quickly that I don't think we as a species, as humans, fully processed what the fuck it was. I remember being, I don't know, 12, 13 years old, and logging into an MSN or AOL chat room for the first time, and I had trouble wrapping my brain around it. It didn't make a lot of sense, and I thought that all the people responding to me were not real. I thought it was like some sort of weirdly sophisticated AI that just happened overnight, and I'm like, oh my god, I thought it was a video game. Like, it took me, yeah, I'm kind of dumb. I'm not claiming that I'm not dumb, but the point I'm trying to make is I was unable to wrap my head around what was happening for maybe a day or so. I'm like, these are real people? Are you shitting me? You know, like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. And I think that same effect happened to a lot of us, right? It used to be one thing to sit in your house and yell at your TV, oh, I'd kick that guy's fucking ass, right? And then the internet happened to us, and we all didn't process it the right way, right? So we had a long run on the internet where people like didn't know how to process that information, and they turned into internet tough guys, right? I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. You watch out for me, motherfucker. If I ever see you out there, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you, right? And it's easy to say those words when somebody's not standing right in front of your face. Now, that's not a challenge. I'm not a tough guy, right? I'm not out here to intimidate anyone. I am pointing out how goddamn silly all of it is. And the reason I'm pointing all that out, is because that is where, in my humble opinion, where all the venom towards this guy Trucks comes from, right? I was probably one of the first on YouTube to make fun of. I mean, there were guys, don't worry, listen, there were guys that were talking shit back and forth to each other, of course, and they'd call each other out, and then very rarely anyone would show up. Like, it would happen like one time. Like, in the history of YouTube trucking, as far as I know it, there have been thousands of threats to kick asses with 0 ass kickings and only 1 stabbing. That's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty fucking good. But just goes to show that maybe they're just talking shit, right? But I started making fun of it as a whole, right? I wasn't going after individual other YouTubers or anything like that, but the concept as a whole, I started making fun of it. The whole cowboy lifestyle, and maybe there was a time where truckers were the real cowboys. It ain't now. We're cowboying around with ELDs and DOT and fucking every other goddamn restriction on us. If that's what cowboys are, I don't want to be a fucking cowboy. That's a Jerry Seinfeld reference for those of you that don't get it. But there's no such thing now as a cowboy trucker, right? And I had somebody literally pissed off at me in the comments last week because they're a real cowboy. Okay, fine, buckaroo, you're a real cowboy. What the fuck do you want me to say to you? But I was one of the first to kind of blow up this whole facade and make fun of it. And the reason I made fun of it was not because I wanted my ass kicked on Fuel Island, was to prove that I'm probably not going to get my ass kicked on Fuel Island. And I did that. I proved that. Now, that's not to say that I won't still get my ass kicked on Fuel Island, but over 10 years, I've been on the road most of that time. There's 365 days in a year. It's very rare that the Fuel Island ass kickings happen, was the whole point I was trying to fucking make, all right? Yes, we're still getting to the point that's in the title, okay? But, I just felt like clearing up all that backstory, because as the channel continues to grow, the hatred will grow also, and that's fucking okay. That's part of being a YouTuber. That's part of getting shit done on this platform, and that's fucking fine. But that's where it all comes from. That's where this whole saga, the thing we're going to talk about today, where it started. I made fun of truckers. Some very few truckers got very angry, and now they're really bothered by my teeth. Yep, that's it. That's where we're at, right? That's where we're at. And then I saw that, and I used that energy. And I said, well, I'm going to find a way to... This guy doesn't want his $2, and I get that it's only $2, but he doesn't want it. And it was so important to him to tell me that he hates my teeth that I'm just going to donate that to something well, like a good organization, because I am sick to death of fucking dipshits living on this planet. Now, I'm not suggesting dipshit genocide, okay? That would be crazy of me. That would be absolutely insane for me to come up with that fucking idea, right? You can't help the people that have already grown up. There's no saving them. Right? A lot of people get set in their ways and they believe all their fucking childhood fantasies of ass kicking on Fuel Island is real, and when you take that from them, then they get really, really fucking mad, and you can't help them. You can't help them, and that's okay, right? And that's where all this, that idea came from. Now we get to the part of the video where I actually get to the point. So I say to you, my friends, I have a dream. Yeah. The world's getting that fucked up that even white guys got to start their fucking speeches out like that. But I have a dream, my friends, of living in a world that has maybe a few less emotionally unstable dipshits in it that fucking lash out and want to violently attack anyone that doesn't agree with their point. And if it's not a violent attack, it's, what is this, high school bullying? I hate your teeth. I don't care. I don't give a fuck that you hate my teeth. I don't care that you hate my beard. You know who likes those things? The women in my life like those things. That's who I care about. That's who I ask their opinions, right? Yes, I've asked them, should I shave this off? Both say they like it. They say they like it. What the fuck do you want me to do about it, right? So, anyways, I'm sweating like a fucking fat trucker now. That's the thing, too. I'm always under fire because I made fun of a fat trucker. I only ever make fun of a fat trucker when he's being a fat fucking prick. That's the only time. If he's being just a happy fat ass, cool. Good with me. But fat fucking pricks, well, maybe sometimes they need to be ridiculed. Anyways, I dream of a world, my friends, where everybody's not so emotional. Where every once in a while they apply critical thinking skills and decide that they are going to, you know, rationalize the situation rather than just react immediately. I'm talking about more intelligent people, right? And I already said we can't do anything for the people that are already set in their ways. But to me, this matters. I, for one, don't want to wake up every day in a world packed full of dipshits. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of just trying to drive down the road and there's an oblivious son of a bitch, probably a Texan, around me causing trouble, right? And then I get the phone call from the company because I'm a safety hazard. I'm not talking about now, I'm just saying in general, you know, and it's like this whole fucking thing, right? And like a guy just wants to make videos on the internet and people go, I fucking hate him, and I want him gone, fuck his teeth, fuck off. Everybody's allowed to pursue their own happiness, however they feel it necessary, right? Well, no, that's not true. As long as they're not harming someone else, right? I mean, I was going to say as long as they're not harming like the financial sector also, but you know, if you take a few rich people's money along the way, that doesn't really bother me a whole lot, right? But as long as you're not causing harm to other people, you're free to pursue your own happiness, right? And for me, my friends, I have daughters. And when I think about how some of these douchebags act on the internet, right? I have to think, do I really want that next generation to not be a little bit more enlightened? To not like have a little bit more common sense, right? Because I don't want like my daughters to marry some emotionally unstable man-child that's every time something don't go his way, he's got to punch something. I don't want that, right? I want them to be in happy, healthy relationships. I want them to fucking understand like that emotions are a thing and it's okay. And I want people to understand that. So the point I'm trying to make, my friends, the whole reason, the whole build-up, every part of why I went into all that, I meant to mention this earlier in the video, and now you have to watch all the way to the end or you're not going to understand what just happened, right? You're going to be in the comments pissed off at me, and it's not my fucking fault. I have decided from here on out, my friends, I'm not a rich man, okay? As a matter of fact, I still struggle to get by. I am balls deep in credit card debt from last time I was trying to save my business that went under, right? I'm just a guy trying to survive. So I'm not doing the most amazing thing in the world, but I'm doing what I can. And from here on out, every month, My YouTube check hits the bank account the 21st of every month. On the 21st of every month, I'm going to take 10% of that for now, okay? Subject to change, hear me out. 10% of that and put that into some sort of charity that helps the next generation of people. Now, I only hit the world, what is it called? The World Literacy Program or whatever it was. I only hit them with $10, right? And I'm going to go ahead and put them on the list for this next month, July 21st, and they're going to get 10% of my YouTube earnings goes to them. Because imagine, guys, if you will, if maybe one young person that was going to grow up to be a fucking lunatic douchebag, maybe we put a book in front of him. Right? Maybe we put a book in front of him and expanded his horizons a little bit and taught him that it's okay to learn more. And you know, taught him that there's a whole world out there of people that might be different from you, and that's okay. Imagine the impact we make, right? So that's going to be the first one. But I want to look at some other stuff, and maybe you guys could help me with this in the comments. Oh, let me talk about that 10% thing real quick before I forget. 10% as of right now. Like I said, I'm not a rich man. I'm really not. But this actually does mean something to me. All for selfish reasons. I'm tired of dealing with dipshits. Okay? If by the time I die, I've removed 100 dipshits from the planet by not dipshit genocide, but by, you know, maybe enriching that young person's life a little more so that they actually have goals and dreams and they don't spend the rest of their life trying to stomp on everyone else's goals and dreams. Maybe they find a little motivation in themselves to just go fucking do it, right? That's great. So 10%, subject to, let me just give a couple reasons why I may not do it some months, but I'm going to do it as many months as possible. If there's, let's say I'm scrambling to find a new job, right? And I need that money to cover bills. Or if there's an unexpected bill at the house that I need to cover first, those will be the exceptions. And I'll come back and I'll tell you guys. I just couldn't afford it this month, but I'm planning 10%. If we keep growing the channel, maybe I can look at modifying that 20%, 30%. But you guys know how percentages work. As the channel grows, you know, then that percentage will equate to a higher number. So I want to look at some stuff like, of course, the world literature thing, whatever it's called. I'll have to go back and look at that myself. But maybe there's some nonprofits or foundations or charities that have to do with maybe helping young adults learn like trades, right? They want to learn a trade so they can be a productive citizen making 6 figures instead of, you know, working at the local gas station or convenience store or whatever and trying to figure out how to pay their bills. If there's some sort of charity like that that's reputable, that pays into some sort of fund to help people learn trades. I'm not talking about college because that's, yeah, trades are where the money's at. Trades are where we should be sending people right now, in my opinion, right? Then I also want to look at that. And I don't need a huge list, and we don't need to change it every month. Maybe we only have 6 of them or something like that. And we just double back and we go back and hit these ones again and go through them. Because the more I've been thinking about it, I wonder how much different life would be for a lot of people out there if they were just given the opportunity, right? Just somebody believed in them, somebody gave them a chance, somebody just gave them a fucking grant so that they, you know, had a better opportunity. How many people would spend their life not being like envious of other people and what they're doing if they had some sort of goal of their own, is the point I'm trying to make. And I know I'm being a huge dick about this while I'm saying it, but sometimes shit just needs to be said. Right? Sometimes shit just needs to be said. So I want to look at stuff like that. I also don't mind necessarily maybe stuff because people are real pissed about my teeth, right? Maybe there's some sort of foundation out there that works specifically on getting kids dental work because maybe they don't have that opportunity, right? They don't have that luxury as kids. People are struggling out there, right? And I didn't have that luxury. Now 40, 50-year-old men talk about my teeth all the time. Like, I mean, what the fuck do you want me to do? And I straight up can't afford the dentist now. Sorry about my disgusting teeth, fuckers. But the whole point I'm trying to make with all of this, guys, is I have tried everything. I've tried arguing with these dickheads. I've tried ignoring these dickheads. I've tried rationalizing with them, to explaining my side, my point of view, and none of that works. So part of the reason I settled on 10% is because I would say it's probably a safe bet that at least 10% of my views are hate watchers, just pissed off people. Let's take their money, let's take their anger, and do something better with it, right? And that's the plan. That's what the fuck we're gonna do. So I will, every month when, please feel free to recommend charities. I'll search them after you guys recommend them. But every month around the 21st, when that YouTube check hits, I will put up picture proof of my donation to whatever charity that either we've all chosen together or that I chose myself or what have you. Yeah, that's the whole point. Just take all that hatred, all that negative energy, and transfer it to somebody that's still young and still has hope, and make it a positive situation. And that's the plan. That's the fucking plan. So none of that's to say that I'm going to be any less of a dick on the internet, but like at least I don't threaten people and like bully individuals or stuff and shit like that. That's what we're going to do, my friends. Bye now.